She fell off her bed, and he tried to help her up, but his touch sent shockwaves all over her body. She felt what she had never felt before in her entire life, like a spark had reignited something deep within her. It was as if the years had fallen away, her heart racing in a way it hadn't since she was young. Her hormones raged, painting different pictures and scenes in her head. The feeling was electric, intoxicating. She felt so alive, so young again. Only 1.2% of those who watch my videos are subscribed. Please don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy my content. This helps me a lot, and don't forget to like this video. Thank you. At 69 years old, Gloria lived in a small, dimly lit apartment on the outskirts of town. The once vibrant woman, full of life, now sat in her recliner most days, staring out of the window, watching the world go by. Her husband had passed away years ago, and her children lived far away, visiting only when they had time. But for the past year, a young man named Ben had become her constant companion. Ben was 25, tall, with dark eyes and a gentle smile that seemed to light up her room. He had been hired to help her with daily tasks, clean up, make meals, and manage her medications. But somewhere along the way, their relationship had evolved into something much more intimate. It started innocently enough, a touch on the arm as he helped her into her chair, the occasional lingering look when their eyes met. But soon, it became more than just touch. They would share more moments alone, their conversations growing more personal, their proximity closer. The lines between caregiver and patient blurred in the quiet of the night. It was a forbidden connection. Gloria knew it was wrong. She knew the consequences. But every time Ben was near her, she couldn't help herself. His presence made her feel like she was no longer the fragile, elderly woman she had become. She felt desired, cherished, and, for the first time in years, alive. She had lived a quiet life, never taking risks, always playing by the rules. But Ben's touch, his closeness, stirred something deep within her. One afternoon, as he bent down to help her with a task, their faces grew closer. She felt the heat of his breath on her skin, and then his lips brushed against her cheek. The shockwaves ran through her again, stronger this time. Her mind raced. She had never felt anything like it before. Ben, she whispered, her voice shaky, do you feel this too? He paused, looking into her eyes, and without saying a word, he kissed her. It was soft at first, hesitant, as if they were both unsure of where this was leading. But as the kiss deepened, all her doubts, all her fears, melted away. From that moment, they found every opportunity to be alone together. Gloria's desires grew more intense, and she threw caution to the wind. She couldn't stop herself, nor did she want to. Ben became her obsession, her escape from the loneliness of her old age. But as the months passed, the relationship became more dangerous. Gloria began to feel more than just passion for Ben. She felt a possessiveness that bordered on madness. The need for him grew, and she found herself spiraling into an obsession that she couldn't control. Ben, too, seemed caught in the web of their forbidden relationship, unable to break free. Then, one night, it all went terribly wrong. It was late, the moon casting shadows across the room as Ben helped Gloria out of her bed. She had been feeling unwell, and he was there to assist her as he always did. But as he touched her, a rush of emotions flooded her. The touch, the connection, it was too much. Before she knew what was happening, Gloria grabbed his arm tightly, pulling him closer. They fell onto the bed in a tangled mess, their passion igniting once again. But this time, it was different. Ben tried to pull away, his face pale with fear, but Gloria wasn't ready to let him go. Suddenly, in the heat of the moment, her hand went to his throat. She squeezed, her fingers tightening with an intensity she didn't know she had. Ben gasped, his eyes wide with terror. "Gloria, please, But she didn't stop. She couldn't. The anger, the jealousy, the fear, everything she had been holding inside exploded. Ben's struggles grew weaker, his face turning a deep shade of red as she continued to squeeze. The man she had once craved was slipping away, his life draining from him in her grasp. And then, Just as quickly as it had started, it was over. Ben lay still, his body limp in her arms. Gloria stared at him, her heart racing, her mind numb with shock. Had she just killed him? Her breath came in ragged gasps as she looked at her hands, now stained with his blood. What had she done? The silence in the room was deafening. Gloria's body trembled, her chest rising and falling as she tried to process the reality of what she had just done. Ben's body lay still on the bed, his once vibrant face now lifeless. Her heart pounded in her chest, and every breath felt like a heavy weight pressing down on her lungs. She looked at her hands, her shaking, trembling hands, and then at Ben's still form. She had never imagined it would come to this. This was not how it was supposed to end. Her mind raced, searching for a solution, any solution. How could she cover this up? How could she make it all go away? For the first time in months, the thrill of her secret relationship with Ben felt like a distant memory, replaced by the cold, suffocating weight of her actions. Her emotions were a tangled mess. Desire, guilt, rage, and fear. All of it swirled inside her like a storm. She took a deep breath and stood up, her knees weak beneath her. She needed to think. She needed to act fast. Gloria glanced at the clock, almost 3 a.m. No one would come to check on her for hours. She could still make it look like an accident. Or could she? Her hands moved mechanically as she went to the drawer where she kept her medication. She retrieved a small bottle of sleeping pills and poured a few into her hand. With trembling fingers, she crushed them into a fine powder, sprinkling it over Ben's body. The pills would make it seem like an overdose. A tragic, foolish mistake. But even as she did it, doubt crept into her mind. Would anyone believe it? Would anyone buy the story she was trying to create? She wasn't sure anymore. Her thoughts were too jumbled. With Ben's body now staged, Gloria began to feel the weight of her decisions crushing down on her. She stood there, staring at him, and felt a wave of disgust and regret wash over her. What had started as an affair, something that made her feel young and alive again, had turned into something monstrous. Something she couldn't undo. Her phone buzzed, snapping her out of her daze. She looked at it, surprised to see a message from her daughter, Laura. "Hi Mom, just checking in. How are you doing? Is everything okay?" The message sent another chill down her spine. She quickly typed a response, trying to make her words sound normal, unaffected. "Everything's fine, dear. Just a little tired. Talk soon." She hit send, her hands shaking as she tucked the phone back into her pocket. The lie felt like poison in her mouth. By dawn, Gloria was a shell of the woman she had been only a few days ago. The events of the night weighed heavily on her, and the guilt gnawed at her, but there was no turning back now. She had to maintain control. She had to keep up appearances. As the sun began to rise, casting a pale light over the room, she heard the sound of footsteps approaching outside her door. The nurse. No, it's too early. Gloria's heart skipped a beat. She hadn't expected anyone to visit so early. The nurse had a habit of checking in on her at random times. But this morning, Gloria felt a cold sweat bead on her forehead. Was this the moment everything would unravel? She had no choice but to act quickly. She hurried to the window, trying to steady her breath as she saw the silhouette of the nurse standing outside. The nurse knocked twice, then turned the doorknob. "No, I can't let anyone see." Gloria walked over to the door and opened it slowly, hoping the nurse wouldn't sense anything wrong. "Good morning, Mrs. Turner," the nurse said cheerfully. "How are you feeling today?" Gloria forced a smile, her throat tight with the weight of her lie. "I'm fine, just a little tired," she replied, her voice trembling ever so slightly. "I slept well, though." The nurse didn't seem to notice anything unusual. She stepped inside, smiling at Gloria as she checked the room for any signs of disarray. "You've been doing better," the nurse commented. "I'm glad to see you resting." Gloria nodded, her mind racing. How could she keep the nurse from asking any questions? As the nurse continued with her routine, Gloria felt an overwhelming urge to rush her out of the room. Her nerves were on edge, and every second felt like it was pushing her closer to the edge. What would happen if someone noticed the signs of foul play? Would anyone figure out what she had done? The nurse finally finished her checkup, unaware of the deadly secret Gloria was hiding. "Well, you're looking good today, Mrs. Turner. Let me know if you need anything," she said before leaving, and the door clicked shut behind her. Gloria was left alone again, the silence in the room louder than ever. Hours passed, but Gloria couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her. Her mind raced. Was it guilt or paranoia? Was someone going to find out? Was the past year with Ben going to destroy her life forever? As night fell, she couldn't help but wonder. Could she really get away with it? Or was there someone who knew the truth? And then, just as she was about to close her eyes, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was an unknown number. "I know what you did." Gloria's heart stopped. Gloria's hands trembled as she stared at the text on her phone screen. "I know what you did." Her mind raced. The world around her began to blur, and the walls of her apartment felt like they were closing in. Her pulse quickened as she tried to make sense of it. Who could it be? Could Ben have left behind a clue? Or was someone watching her all along? She quickly read the message again, but there was nothing else, no sender, no explanation. She stood frozen, feeling like the walls were closing in around her, suffocating her. Was this the beginning of the end? She grabbed her phone with shaking hands and dialed Ben's number, despite knowing he would never answer again. She had to do something, anything, to regain control of this situation. Ring, ring. The call went to voicemail. "Ben," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I don't know what to do. I didn't mean for it to happen. Please, help me. I need you." Her voice broke as she ended the call and placed the phone back down, feeling a deep, empty ache in her chest. Suddenly, she heard a knock on the door. Her heart skipped a beat, and she stiffened. This time, there was no hesitation. She moved quickly to the door, her feet barely touching the ground. She opened it to find Laura standing there, her expression unreadable. "Mom, we need to talk." Gloria's stomach sank. She had never been good at hiding her feelings, and the weight of the secret she carried was written all over her face. Laura stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. "You've been acting strange lately. I'm worried about you." Gloria's heart pounded in her chest. She couldn't let Laura see the truth. She had to act normal, keep her composure. "I'm fine, honey. Just tired. You know how it is," she said, her voice forced, trying to mask the fear in her eyes. Laura didn't buy it. "I'm not leaving until you tell me what's really going on." The pressure was too much. Gloria couldn't hide it any longer. The guilt, the fear, the madness, it all came crashing down. She collapsed into the nearest chair, her body shaking with the weight of the truth. She didn't know where to begin. I don't know how it happened," Gloria whispered, her voice barely audible. "Ben, my caregiver. I did something terrible. Tears welled in her eyes as she relived the horror of that night. How Ben's life had slipped away in her hands. How she had allowed her desires to overtake her sanity. And how, in the end, she had taken everything from him. Laura stood silent, her face frozen in shock as she listened. Her mother had always been the strong one, the one who kept everything together. But now, Gloria was unraveling before her eyes. "I didn't mean to hurt him, Laura. I couldn't stop," Gloria sobbed. "I don't know what came over me. He was so kind, so gentle, and I was so lonely. I thought I could control it, but I couldn't." Laura stepped forward, her hand resting on Gloria's trembling shoulder. "Mom, you need to turn yourself in. This isn't something you can hide." Gloria looked up at her daughter, the weight of her words sinking in. She had always known that she couldn't outrun the truth forever, but the thought of facing it, of facing what she had done to Ben, was unbearable. But as the moments passed, a quiet determination settled within her. She would never be free from the guilt, the regret, and the haunting memory of that night. But maybe, just maybe, there was a way to make things right. To stop the lies before they consumed her entirely. I will face it," she whispered, her voice stronger now. "I'll call the police." The next day, Gloria sat alone in her living room, the weight of the decision heavy on her shoulders. She had called the authorities, her heart pounding in her chest as she waited for them to arrive. Laura had stayed with her presence a comfort, even though the silence between them felt suffocating. When the police arrived, Gloria's mind went blank. She answered their questions, her hands trembling as she recounted the events of the night. The truth spilled out, raw, unfiltered, and unforgiving. She didn't hold back. There were no excuses, no lies left to tell. The officers listened in silence, their expressions hard to read. When the questioning was over, one of them placed handcuffs on her wrists. Gloria didn't resist. She couldn't. As they escorted her out of her apartment, Gloria looked back at the room where it had all happened. The place where her desires, her loneliness, and her darkness had come together in a way she could never have imagined. Months passed. Gloria's trial was a media sensation. Her story, one of forbidden love, obsession, and betrayal, captivated the public. The courtroom was filled with whispers and murmurs as she took the stand, her once proud posture now broken and frail. She was sentenced to prison, but in the end, it wasn't the sentence that haunted her. It was the memory of Ben, the young man whose life she had taken, whose touch had awakened something in her that she didn't understand. In the quiet of her cell, Gloria finally realized the truth. It wasn't just Ben's death that had been her punishment. It was the death of the woman she had once been. The woman who had believed in love, in second chances, and in the possibility of redemption. But now, as the days stretched on, all she had left was the haunting silence of her own remorse.